The human that depended on focused attention for his survival has now become distracted animal. Contrary to popular belief, we humans cannot multitask. When we start paying attention on something, neurons inside our brain start processing that information. They get busy. Neural network switching happens. Our brain switches. There is no boring work. There are disinterested minds. Always remember that. There is no boring work. The human that depended on focused attention for his survival has now become distracted animal. But eventually, this universe mercilessly exposes this new weakness of ours, and we end up regretting, complaining, and using past modal verbs should have, could have, would have. But life is not about could have, should have, or would have. What's gone is gone. What's missed is missed. Remember, focus is the hidden driver for excellence. If you can control and sustain your attention without exaggeration, this is one of the most crucial mental faculties that humans possess. If you wish to learn a new skill, overcome your anxiety, if you wish to do the undoable, reach the unreachable, think the unthinkable, focus, complete attention. Our focus is like a muscle. Exercise it properly and it will grow. Abuse it and it will diminish. And one of the biggest culprits is the excessive usage of modern technology. Social media websites, smartphones. Now, before I discuss the possible solutions, let me tell you these three things first. Last year, I read this interesting book, The Distracted Mind. This book talks about goal interference. When something takes place to hinder the successful completion of a goal is basically known as goal interference. Now, this interference can be generated internally, like while doing productive things or important things. We have these random thoughts inside our mind and we get carried away. Or at times, we start imagining that we have already achieved the goals. Of course, this gives us temporary happiness, but nothing is happening in reality. Now, this interference happens externally as well. Restaurant chatter, useless chatter, beeps, notifications, flashing visual displays. In a nutshell, while doing productive things, when we start responding to unnecessary things, these things become goal interference. If the interference is something which disrupts our focus but doesn't lead to change in our behavior, is known as distractions. But interruptions, on the other hand, cause a change in our behavior as they entice us to switch from the task we were focused on to the new one. Our brain can process many inputs, but it can produce one output at a time. Contrary to popular belief, we humans cannot multitask. Yes, we cannot do it. If it is about chewing gum and doing your work, it's a different story. If it is about listening to music and doing your work, it's a different story. If it is about paying attention on two different things, then it's a completely different story, and unfortunately, our brain cannot do it. Let me tell you why. When we start paying attention on something, neurons inside our brain start processing that information. They get busy. Then goal interference happens in the form of distractions, interruptions, and when we respond to these interruptions or distractions, then neural network switching happens. Our brain switches from the important work to less important work, and we cannot, I must say, we can never do deep work. So this process of switching is called neural network switching. Now, what can be the possible solutions? Since I've told you the scientific thing, why I've told you all these things? So that you could understand this completely, because this is important. We want to focus on important things while doing our business, while studying, while doing all those productive things. This is one of the major weaknesses of modern day humans: lack of attention. And in this video, I'm going to solve your problems. Why this is our first tip? Because I want you to realize this first. I want you to understand this first, whatever we have discussed. First we start responding to these distractions. Then slowly these distractions become interruptions. And when these things become interruptions, this becomes our new behavior. Oh boy, if this becomes our new behavior, it becomes really challenging to do the productive work, or I should say, to do deep work. So distractions, we start responding to distractions. These distractions become interruptions and behavior change. And once we form this new behavior, it becomes really challenging. So what is the possible solution? By remembering this, what I've just said, so that you don't get carried away in distractions. I was wondering a couple of years back that it was very difficult for me, many years ago, it was very difficult for me to focus, to concentrate on important things, on books. But now I can study for 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours. In fact, I can work for many, many hours. And I've learned to focus. So there was a learning. There is no boring work. There are disinterested minds. Always remember that. There is no boring work. There are disinterested minds. If the work is really important for you and you have to do it, so you must remember this. There is no boring work. There are disinterested minds. Perhaps you can use these 3 questions to generate your interest. What, why, how? Like I was least interested in arithmetic. Then I asked myself these 3 questions. What is arithmetic? Of course you know about it. Why it is so important? Everything is arithmetic, right? Everything, the entire universe. So it's very important. You have to have this basic knowledge. Then I asked myself, okay, how can I improve my basic arithmetic? So what, why, how? I use these 3 questions for important work as well. If I'm feeling bored. Do you remember Newton's first law? Things in motion tend to stay in motion. Things at rest tend to stay at rest. So what is the most important lesson here? uh, that we gotta start. So that's what I do. Even if I'm disinterested, even if I'm feeling bored, or I'm thinking about something else, I remember this law of Newton and somehow I start. And then I keep all those things away, the things that might distract me, like our phones. So I keep all those things away because things in motion tend to stay in motion. Things at rest tend to stay at rest unless acted upon by an external force. And our smartphones are very powerful, very, very powerful. These smartphones can distract us, can interrupt us, can cause a behavior change. So remember this. Since I study about human brain a lot, so our brain always likes the things which seem to be reachable. And if we change the dialogue, we also kill the ambiguity, because there's this ambiguity about this dialogue. I could achieve my goals someday. No, that's a bad dialogue. I should achieve few goals today. Now, just spot the difference and try understanding your own brain as well. I could achieve some goals, or I could achieve my goals someday. Another dialogue. I should achieve one goal or two goals or three goals or few things today. When we use this dialogue, we kill this ambiguity for our brain. And our brain is now clear that I have to achieve one thing or two things or three things today, not someday. So remember this. We become what we regularly practice. So I would say, practice attention. This really works. That's what I do every morning, especially. Whenever I wake up from my bedroom, I go to living room. I sit there and I practice attention. Just for a few seconds sometimes, or a few minutes. Like if there's a couch in front of me, I'm just paying attention without thinking of anything else. Complete attention. And every morning I feel hungry. So I enter in my kitchen since I want to sate my hunger. So whenever I enter in my kitchen, I give complete attention, because I constantly remind myself, man, you gotta practice attention. You gotta practice attention, because you become what you regularly practice. And I would say, right before doing important work, you should remind yourself the same. Pay attention, practice attention. And never forget this. You become what you regularly practice. These things, I'm talking about social media websites, these things have been cleverly designed. Of course, the guys who have designed it, perhaps they know human behavior, because these things cause a permanent behavior change. I'm not joking. Like the moment we wake up, we start checking our phone. And we want to check for a minute or two, just couple of notifications, but we end up checking for a long time. The same happens when we go to bed. Because I said these things have been cleverly designed. These things cause a permanent behavior change. So I want you to remember this. Since we humans want to impress or want to get impressed, and we also have the access to staggering amount of information available. Just one click away we are. Just one click away from the staggering amount of information from our favorite celebs' life, personal life, because they keep sharing. That's what they want. That we should keep checking their stuff. That's how they earn money. But what we achieve, most of us, we end up wasting our time. Now, I'm not against these social media websites. I'm against the excessive usage. So I want you to remember that these things, let me repeat once again, these things have cleverly been designed so that these things could cause a behavior change. That's what we do day in, day out. We keep checking the notifications, we keep responding to notifications, then these things become our life, everyday life, day-to-day life. I read this strategy in a book, Deep Work, Internet Sabbatical, they suggested. And I've tried this. This was really helpful. I took a break from all these social media websites. Basically, I keep taking break after 2-3 months. Sometimes 4 days, 7 days, 10 days, 15 days. It depends on you. So I keep taking this internet sabbatical. You can try using the same strategy. If you learn to live without these social media websites, you're doing great in this present era where we have become slaves. Why my talk is focused on social media websites? Because I personally believe these websites are the major distractions. And as you know, when distractions become interruptions, and when interruptions become behavior, it becomes really difficult to change. So that's why I take internet sabbatical, or at times I limit my access. I allot myself a time. During this period, I'll be checking notifications. Other than that, I won't be checking. If somebody has an important work, I've conveyed this message to my near and dear ones, give me a call. Because I might not check notifications, I turn it off most of the times. To do productive work, to do deep work. So this might work. Try it out. Internet sabbatical. Now this is our last strategy of the day, but this has to be my favorite one. The greatest threat to success is boredom. Always remember that. The greatest threat to success is boredom. So what I'm doing these days, Deep Work book taught me this strategy. What I'm doing these days, if you remember, perhaps most of you do the same. Let's say we are standing in the queue, or we are waiting for somebody, and we have got these quick 2, 3, 4 minutes. What we do? We start checking notifications again, start checking different websites. Okay, what's there? I'm not doing that. But have you ever wondered why we do that? Because we immediately start getting bored. That's the problem. The moment we get bored, we do less productive work. So what I do? I embrace boredom, because the greatest threat to success is boredom. Somehow, if you can love boredom, you can do deep work, boy. You can focus, you can pay attention. So I am even practicing boredom. I do not check notification even if I have to wait for somebody. I do not check it at all. If you wish to do deep work, practice boredom. If something works, that's wonderful. If something doesn't work, do let me know, because I keep checking the comment section just to get to know what's going on in your life, whether you're using all these strategies or not, whether you're executing, or while executing these strategies, what sort of challenges you're facing. So please do let me know if something doesn't work out, or if there are other questions. Till then, ta-da. See ya. Until next time.